Mr. INT and his Isle of Denial are heading back to the Atlantic waters off the coast of New England. What does it all mean for the Patriots? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Welcome to the Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I am your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X, or if you prefer Twitter or the Bird app, at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. And of course, Pats fans, with me today, as always, is my good friend. He is the unquestioned Don of Locked On Patriots, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy. And Murph, the Patriots have been busy here on this Wednesday morning, haven't they?
Yeah, they have been. Moves, comings and goings, press conferences, and the return of a good old friend that is going to know what coaches ask of him when they ask of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
12-5 is back on.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, Patriots fans are probably either cheering you right now, Murph, or they're rolling their eyes. But one of the two, Virtue is probably going to meet somewhere in the middle, because the Patriots may have lost a star rookie cornerback, and we're going to get to that in just a moment as well. But they filled his spot by bringing in a former All-Pro. And the New England Patriots, folks, reacquiring old friend J.C. Jackson from the Los Angeles Chargers. They got J.C. and a 2025 7th-round draft selection for a 2025 6th-rounder. And despite spending just over a season with the Bolts, Jackson, of course, best known for his time here in New England, a 4-year stint that included a Super Bowl championship and, of course, nods as both a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro.
Yep.
Murph, we know the prowess that J.C. Jackson brings to the table, not just as a ball-hawking corner, but also as someone that really developed into a pseudo-lockdown corner in the final year here of his tenure in New England. What should Patriots fans realistically expect from this reunion?
That's a great question, Michael. I want everybody to slow their roll a little bit here. JC did deal with a significant injury while he was out there in San Diego, which has slowed him in just enough of a way that he's vulnerable. He's not the man that left here, at least not yet. I'm not saying that he can't be that guy with further rehabilitation and more time out from surgery, but this is not the J.C. Jackson of 2020.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point and a very strong point to make. I know there's still a lot of excitement for the New England Patriots right now in bringing back someone like J.C. Jackson. You look at what the Patriots lost in Christian Gonzalez, a solid lockdown corner on the perimeter, and an area where the New England Patriots definitely needed an upgrade. And I think that may have facilitated the Pats' hand here, or tipped their hand in making this move. But ultimately, when you look at J.C. Jackson, there's no question about it. You are getting someone that can handle the load. He's handled the load up here in New England before. 17 regular season games in 2021 is what J.C. Jackson put out there. 44 solo tackles, led the league in 23 passes defense, 8 interceptions, returned one of them for a touchdown. And those 8 interceptions were the second most in the NFL in 2021, behind Trevon Diggs of the Dallas Cowboys, who had 11. He also earned a Pro Bowl nod. He earned a second-team All-Pro. And ultimately, what he did here in New England, 158 total tackles, 53 passes defense, and 25 interceptions in 4 years. So if you're wondering whether or not the Patriots got someone that can find the ball and can stay in lockstep with his defender, he can definitely do that. What I think Patriots fans also need to remember here, and I think, Murph, you hit this right on the head, his time in Los Angeles was riddled with injury and uncertainty. The patella tendon rupturing is not something that's easy to overcome. And JC alluded to this just a couple of weeks ago, really
Yep.
right up until the time where he was traded, that he's still working his way back to being 100%. So you're not getting a fresh leg JC Jackson out there right now. You're getting someone that came back from the injury fairly quickly, and that is something that is
Right.
very good to see. But he's still working his way back to getting where he was.
It's more than just what you see in an MRI. Okay, it's
Mhm.
what you would see on a doctor's couch. People, you have to truly believe that you're healed up and that you're ready to go and that you can make those turns and those cuts and follow those wide receivers in the way that you did before in your head. All right, you have to know that your body is going to do what you ask it to, and trust it to do that. And that's the most difficult thing in coming back from an injury like this. All the doctors in the world can tell you that you're fine. Yep, go ahead. But you have to be right with it. You have to
Mhm.
be right with it in your mind before you can ask your body to do it. And I don't know if JC had been there yet. I hope, hopefully coming back here to a familiar surrounding will maybe, let something click up there, and he will be able to do it. But the bottom line is that you need bodies to be able to go out there. And JC Jackson is somebody that can come in here. And like I said, when the coaches tell him to do something, he's going to know exactly what it is. When he gets a signal from whoever's wearing the green dot, he's going to know where to be. That was the most important thing in this deal for the Patriots, is they were bringing back that kind of familiarity and nobody that's going to have to be brought up to speed.
Yeah, without question. Knowledge of the system was key in terms of getting these guys acclimated and getting them back on the field. And Murph, we talked about this the other day. The Patriots needed someone in that lockdown cornerback position
Yep.
in order to facilitate what the Patriots love to do: man coverage with a single high safety.
Right.
That is dependent on having a lockdown corner that can be in lockstep and cover the opposing team's number one receiver. We definitely saw that on Sunday when Christian Gonzalez went down. And unfortunately, Murph, that is a byproduct of what the
Mhm.
Patriots are dealing with right now. Before we get to Christian, though, I did want to touch very briefly on something else, and that is the warrant out for JC Jackson's arrest. We haven't heard that much about this situation, folks. Just to kind of bring you up to speed, Jackson, a little bit of legal trouble in late September. North Attleboro, Massachusetts police issued an arrest warrant after a probation violation, which is stemming from a 2021 arrest for quote unquote criminal speeding. Their
Right.
terms, folks, not mine. But again, the legal situation remains ongoing. You don't know if there's going to be any disciplinary action from the league on this. Does
I
this concern you at all, Murph?
No, not really. We're not talking about jail time here, people.
Yeah.
Something happened. He was out on the West Coast. Nobody was here to handle it. And no, this is not a big concern of
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that in a lot of ways, folks, let the legal proceedings play out.
mine. Yeah.
Obviously, the Patriots were comfortable enough making this move, knowing full well the
Right.
information was out there. Chris Mason of Mass Live broke the story about a week ago. So it has been out there. Obviously, the Patriots, did the due diligence when it came to the legal battles here. And I think that, move going forward kind of mitigates some of that concern. So once again, Murph, thank you for your
Yeah.
wisdom, your counsel, and your level-headed approach to all of this.
But
But bottom line, folks, this is the true definition of low risk, high reward.
right.
The Patriots definitely getting some help from Angeles Chargers on this. Inexpensive price, bud. The
Yeah.
Patriots and the Chargers reworking the remaining of the $9.3 million in salary that Jackson was owed this
Right.
season. That's going to absorb about $1.5 million of that. The Bolts are going to cover the rest in a signing bonus. And he's in the second year of his deal, folks, but this is one to very closely monitor. If for
Right.
any reason this does not work out, none of the contract is guaranteed beyond this
None.
season. So if the Patriots need to cut him
Cut
loose,
bait.
there is no risk. So the Patriots clearly doing their homework. And if he performs very well,
Right.
the Patriots should and they probably will rework that deal. So
Yeah. Like you're out on a boat with Charlie Moore, and he gives you a lure. It either fishes or you cut bait.
absolutely. Absolutely, folks. And folks, we are not done yet digging into this one because one of the big reasons why JC Jackson is here is because, unfortunately, Christian Gonzalez looks like he won't be for the remainder of the season. Murph and I
anymore.
alluded to this on Monday,
Yep.
and this is going to be a tough road ahead for the kid. We're definitely pulling for him, but what does it mean for the Patriots on the field without Christian Gonzalez? What does it mean for him as well? We're going to discuss those and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're preparing for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Green Bay Packers running back Aaron Jones didn't fare well with the limited work returning from his hamstring injury against the Lions in Week 4. With some time to heal off a mini bye, look for Jones to be ready to show his old explosive self as a runner and receiver on Monday night in Las Vegas. He will feel right at home with the plenty of cheeseheads making the trip to the desert against a bad Raiders overall defense. Not too far down the road from where Jones's star was born in his hometown of El Paso, Texas. Folks, Vinny Iyer from Locked On Fantasy Football is going to help you win your fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. It's the same thing with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly with brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. Folks, keep your ride or die alive at ebay.com/motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, making us a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. And of course, folks, here today with the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, a legendary Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports, talking the acquisition or reacquisition of J.C. Jackson. And it's a happy reunion for a lot of people in New England. I'm sure for the Patriots and for J.C. as well. He experienced his best years of his career here in New England. But unfortunately, Murph, it does come with a price, and that price is the season. And like you said, coming into the break here, maybe even perhaps more for Christian Gonzalez being on the shelf, who left, obviously, folks, Sunday's game after jamming his shoulder in a tackle attempt. He was confirmed on Wednesday to have suffered a torn shoulder labrum. He's going to have surgery, out for the remainder of the season at the very least. And unfortunately ending what had been a very promising start to his first season in the NFL.
Right.
Murph, obviously, this is a tough break. J.C. Jackson's acquisition mitigates this a little bit, but nothing's going to erase the loss of Christian Gonzalez here. This is another tough loss for the Patriots defense.
Yeah, it really is. Bill hit a home run with this pick, and of course, the rug gets pulled out from under him. The kid has already been named the Defensive Rookie of the Month. His first month in the season, things were looking up. This defense, for lack of a better, until his injury on Sunday was, a top 5 defense in the NFL, and it's just killer. It's just killer. You saw how it sucked the life out of this secondary and this Patriots defense when this kid went down, and then Matthew Judon went down after that, and some moves had to be made. One thing that not a lot of people are talking about yet is the fact that Jack Jones is eligible to come off of IR, and he is not going to. He's not coming off of IR, so this is an even more important move for the Patriots to make right now. But what this kid is going through right now, as we talked about on Monday, we didn't know, the extent of the injury. We talked about, the fact that his shoulder might need to be surgically not repaired, but stabilized, because that
Mhm.
happens an awful lot with a dislocated shoulder. But now he's looking at an even more extensive procedure, and one that, like I said before, you've got to be able to be right in your mind to go out there and play this game the way it's supposed to be played, um, which is the way that this young man has played it since he came into the league. And so that's why I'm saying it might take a little bit longer than just the rest of the season. But right now, the Patriots needed to make a move, not only because of this injury, but because other guys just are not back yet.
You mentioned Jack Jones. That's a very good point to make, Murph, because he is not on the field for the New England Patriots just yet. On Wednesday's practice, they did have 3 returns, folks. Offensive tackle Riley Rafe back at
Yep.
practice. Defensive end Trey Flowers back at practice as well. And safety / special teamer Cody Davis. Their 21-day windows have opened, but still no
Right.
Tyquan Thornton yet.
No.
And of course, no Jack Jones, which ultimately comes back to the urgency that the Patriots felt to bring J.C. Jackson in here. But you mentioned Gonzalez, and you mentioned what he's bringing to the table. In just 3 games, and I guess you can give him the quarter against
Yeah.
Dallas, 17 total tackles, 3 passes defensed, 1
Yep.
interception, and that week 1 sack of Jalen Hurts
Jalen Hurts.
on a corner blitz, which was
Yep.
a lot of fun to watch. Perhaps most importantly, though, is what he was doing against some of the league's top receivers, only allowing 11 catches on 20 targets for 124 yards and 0 touchdowns. When you think about the names Christian Gonzalez was matched
Right.
up against, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb. There is
Yep.
a reason why this kid is going to be so missed in this lineup. And once again, Bill Belichick saying when he went down, the Patriots
All
had to
pro.
adjust their system.
Right. All pro JC Jackson is not replacing this kid.
Mhm.
Okay. He's not filling those shoes.
Yep.
Okay. It's just not, that's how good he is. And this is just going to be solely, this kid is going to be solely missed. He was definitely deserving of being picked where he was. I thought he was the best cornerback in last year's draft. I thought for sure he was going to be a top 10 pick, and people are going to point out that his size and his build were one of the reasons that he slipped. And the people, that talk between 2 and 6 in the afternoon are just going to say, "Here's another skinny guy that just couldn't hack it that Bill had to have."
Mhm. Well, I think what he's proven on the field has definitely mitigated
Right.
any concerns regarding his size. And folks, the one thing about a tear or a shoulder injury like this is you can come back at full strength. It takes a
Oh yeah.
while. It is difficult. But when he does return to the field, he will return to the field at full strength. In the meantime, you want to make sure that this kid is fully healed. You want to make sure that he is
Hmm.
fully ready when he steps back on a football field. And that's why he's facing such a difficult and long road ahead to getting back. But we wish him the unquestionable best, and we hope to see him out on the field as soon as
Right.
possible. And speaking of as soon as possible, for any Patriots fans that are hoping to see JC out there right away,
Mhm.
this week, as a matter of fact, I think that's probably rushing things a little bit. Folks,
Right.
it's possible, and I'm not going to say there's no chance. But I think the chances of him sitting out this week and maybe getting the nod in week 6 are much greater. The Patriots had to shuffle things a little bit. Miles Bryant, Sean Wade shifted to the outside
Right.
against the Dallas Cowboys, and the Patriots deploying those 3 safety groupings. Jalen Mills coming in, spending some time in the slot. My anticipation is that that's how they're going to attack things this week, Murph. Do you think
Right.
there's a chance we see JC, or are we looking at more of the same when it comes to what the Pats can bring out there on the field?
There's a chance, but I mean, there's a bigger chance that Miles Bryant gives his number back to JC. I don't see that happening. There's a slight chance that'll happen, but I wouldn't count on it, folks. They're going to have to um, paste something together, MacGyver something together back there, and hopefully, some of the Joneses are back, and we can take care of business against Derek Carr once again.
Yeah, folks, if you heard me mention Isle of Denial in our opening today, tried to coin the phrase a couple of years ago when JC had his big time season in terms of being a lockdown corner, which he self professed. He wanted to be known more as a
Yep.
lockdown corner. And credit to him, he stepped up and he developed a lot of those traits. I wrote an article for Sports Illustrated a couple of years ago saying that Mr. INT would have his Isle of Denial. Anyone thinking that New Orleans's Chris Olave is going to be put on that aisle this week, yeah, I'd probably wait a week on this one,
Yeah.
folks. But ultimately, if the Pats do have to go with Miles and Sean and Jalen as that three-headed, triumvirate in
Right.
that backfield, that's probably what you're looking for. And Murph, that leads us quite nicely into we're going to wrap today's show up and taking our
Oh,
first early look at the New Orleans Saints, who are coming in here for a Week 5 matchup. The Saints are 2-2. They have their offensive woes, but that defense can get after you in a hurry. Murph and I are going to discuss our early thoughts on New Orleans when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. Of course, folks, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Patriots is brought to you by BetterHelp. Do you ever feel like your brain is getting in its own way? Like you know what you should do, what's good for you, but you just can't do it? Well, therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself. Through therapy, you can learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Pat fans, it's always a blast when the counter Murphy Fisto lends his wisdom, his counsel, and his opinions here on Locked On Patriots. We love having Thomas Murphy of E2G
Yep.
Sports alongside us
Thank
today. And what better day to do it, Murph, than on a Wednesday? It's midweek. JC Jackson's back. New England Patriots have to move forward. That's been the theme of the week. Of course, the injuries to Matthew Judon, Christian Gonzalez, devastating injuries. We talked a lot about Judon on Monday, talked a lot about Christian today, but now it's all about the players on the field. Mac Jones needing to lead his team into battle against the 2-2 New Orleans Saints right here at Gillette Stadium at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Murph, when you look at this Saints team, obviously Derek Carr under center. They've got a lot of offensive talent with Chris Olave we talked about
right.
in the previous segment. Michael Thomas obviously is someone still to be reckoned with. Alvin Kamara is someone that can get you yards on the ground. But this offense has struggled, and their defense really has been what has carried them up until this point. When you look at this New Orleans team, what are your early thoughts on them, and what do you expect the New England Patriots to do to counter what they do best?
Take Alvin Kamara away from Derek Carr.
Hmm.
You know, take him away from Derek Carr, and in meaning that is not allowing Kamara to set a tone where Carr is going to be able to exploit the Patriots defensive backfield with these receivers. He still has some very good wide receivers. They just have not put it all together yet. So yeah, that's the thing that, you know, early on, I want to focus on. Kamara came back last week, had a decent week. I think he carried the ball 10 times for 50 yards or something like that. And he's only going to get better. And also what he can do out of the backfield in catching the ball and being there as a safety valve for Carr. I think that is where the Patriots defense needs to focus and shut down New Orleans and trying to stay in this game early. On the defensive side of the ball, it's the edges. It's what they're able to do coming off the edges that really worries me. Those off-ball linebackers too. But you know, Cam Jordan is no joke. Carl Granderson is a fantastic performer. Even at age 34, Cameron Jordan is something that somebody that you need to pay attention to on each and every snap. And as we know, the Patriots have not been very solid at the tackle position especially on the right-hand side this year.
Yeah, without question. Very, very good point. And in terms of what I'm looking at with the Saints is, are the Patriots going to be able to attack their run defense? Can they
Yep.
get their run game going?
Yeah.
You look at the statistics, and New Orleans comes across as being a very good team against stopping the run. They're 11th in the league. They allow 103.3 yards per game on the ground. But where they are vulnerable is in the carry. They're averaging 4.1 yards against per carry. That makes them
Yep.
16th in the NFL, which is run of the mill. If the Patriots can utilize blocking up front and get some solid run blocking from their offensive line, with Pharaoh Brown maybe taking a few run snaps himself, maybe even Ezekiel Elliott acting as a run blocker. I know he's best in pass protection, but get a little inventive this week, folks. That means that Ramondre and then Zeke, of course, can get untracked. They can start to move the ball. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, use a fullback this week, folks, if you need to, because getting that run game going is going to be so key to New England finding success against the Saints defense. Mac needs to utilize the intermediate areas of the field, hit those passes, draw the defense in, lead your receivers under it, and then Mac can start to get to work by getting his guys yards after the catch and putting it in position where they can get yards after the catch. Sounds simple, Murph, but it hasn't been easy for the New England Patriots to do.
It has not been. It has not been. I'm wholeheartedly upset with Mac Jones right now after a second and third watch of that last game in Dallas. I love the pick of Mac Jones. I'm still on the sunny side of the Mac Jones street. But he was brought here as the guy that was not going to win you games, wasn't going to lose you games. And if you go back and you look at the Patriots' losses this year and going back into last year, he has been a part of the problem. Okay, he has not been who he was advertised as, who he was at Alabama, or even in his rookie season. That he wasn't the guy that lost you games, and that's what I need from him this week. Is to go out there, have a solid performance. I don't want to. We can't. This team is not talented enough to dig its way out of holes that they dig themselves.
And it's also about play calling and play scheming, and that's exactly what Bill O'Brien talked about earlier this week. Yes, Mac's got to make better decisions. That's on him. But we also need to scheme situations better in order to put him in a position where he's able to succeed.
Turn a key or two.
Exactly. You want
every week.
You do. And you want Mac Jones in that position, folks, that allows him not to lose you games and puts him in a position of authority. Maybe the New England Patriots take that to heart this week. We all hope so, and we all hope that is indeed the case. Murph, what can I say? I appreciate you stopping by, lending your wisdom and counsel the way only you can, my friend. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, where they can tell you what's on their mind, and what we can look forward to coming from the great pen, the great voice of Thomas Murphy for the remainder of the week.
Well, of course, you can follow me on the Bird app at tmurph207. I am not doing a write-up about the return of J.C. Jackson. I'm just too focused on baseball right now. I have some baseball pieces out, and of course, my keys will be out on Friday.
Absolutely, folks. And if you're looking for a write-up on J.C. Jackson, you can always go ahead and check out si.com/NFL/Patriots. You can find my response to that. You definitely want to take a look at what Murph is doing at e2gsports.com. I recommend everything the man puts his name to because it's top-notch work, whether it be Red Sox, Patriots, and of course, folks, those monster keys, which I got a very sneaking suspicion we're going to turn later in the week. So keep a sharp eye out for that. But in the meantime, I want to thank you, my friend, for being there, for the handoff, and for lending your wisdom, counsel, and reason on the J.C. Jackson trade. And, of course, folks, all of you Locked On everydayers out there for spending time with us each and every day here on Locked On Patriots and making us a part of your daily Patriots coverage. On behalf of my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you to stay safe, stay well, and to be the change you wish to see in the world, and to tune in here tomorrow when my good friend and fearless leader here at Locked On Patriots, Ross Jackson, joins me to cross the streams as the Patriots and the Saints lock horns this Sunday. Going to be a fun one when Ross drops by, one of the best in the business at what he does. I can't wait for it, and I know you're all going to be looking forward to it as well. So stay locked in to Locked On Patriots.
More fullbacks. That's what I want. More fullbacks.
More fullbacks.
More fullbacks.